People are not gonna get this, and what I mean by boring, they will never get it. The people who are going to understand what I mean by boring are the people that are gonna succeed. The people who don't understand what I mean by boring, your brand's gonna be another TikTok brand that made X amount of money 1 year and then couldn't do it anymore after that. So, like I always tell you guys, no one actually cares what your brand means. If you think they care, I promise you, they do not. The guys who created HealthStar, they don't know what the brand means. He gave an example off the top of his head. I mean, obviously, it may actually mean that, but to me, I'm like, it doesn't have. Sometimes things just speak for themselves. And talking to people who are stuck on what the brand means, is the most annoyingest thing I've ever had to deal with in my life. I've talked to brand owners, and they're so amplified about what the meaning of the brand is, and it's like, unless your meaning is like how you create, like the story of the brand and how it created, I don't want a meaning, because I bet you half the people watching these videos, the meaning of their brand is to elevate the human. Half the people who watch these videos, it's to elevate something, to make something better. When in the grand scheme of things, a clothing brand is supposed to elevate and make somebody better. It's not a meaning. You're just giving yourself you're just saying what a clothing brand does in a different way. Multiple different ways. All of you guys are doing that. So your brand doesn't have a meaning. Good. It doesn't need to have one. Everything does not have to have a background story, but it does have to have a vibe that people could connect to. That's what's more important than any of that shit. That's why I tell you guys all the time, be very focused on the consumer's brand world in their head. Every consumer has a brand world in their head that's so filled with just shit that they love. Think about the stuff that you like and how it's in your head, how you separate it, how you're like, oh, when I get X amount of money, I'm going to get this. Oh, when I live like this, I'm going to have these things. Like, or right now I want to go get this so this could look good in this area. That's how people are thinking. You have to think of your brand in that way. How does my brand fit in this consumer's world? What pocket do I fit in their world? You have to figure this out. This is the meaning that you need to figure out. Fuck what your brand is going to do for the world. Fuck what it's going to, elevate. My question is this. Does Rick Owens have a brand meaning? Rick Owens is pure vibe. Pure, you have to connect with me to understand what this is. Pure, if this is your vibe, you fucking get it. That's what Rick Owens is. Most brands that are in houses, if you understand this vibe, buy it. And that's all within the customer's brand world in their head. Brands don't think like this. They don't do that. They don't understand that no one cares what these glasses are. I care about the vibe that I've curated for myself and how I can add these glasses to my vibe. How does it improve my vibe? Like, no one cares that your brand is to elevate them, okay? Who cares, babe? No one cares. Please, I really want this to sink in. We are a little community here, guys. We're so small. But if 100 of you could understand this, do you know how far you'll go? And I want my recognition when you guys are 8-figure brands, because you understand this. This is what you need to understand. This. You are creating and molding your brand into a world that the brand consumer already has. The consumer already has a brand world. It already knows what it's like, what it likes. If somebody really wanted to buy something from you, they would, because you fit into their brand world. If your brand never gets any sales, it's because you're not fitting into anybody's brand world. Sometimes it's not even marketing. Sometimes the product that you're making, it just doesn't fit somewhere where a person can buy it. It doesn't fit into their brand world. People have multiple brand worlds. There's people who are so streetwear, but that would wear loafers. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Everybody has multiple vibes. Pick the vibe that you're going to enter into, okay? Just stay here with me on this. If you have a brand meaning right now and you take the brand meaning to like 35, back it up. I need you guys to do that. Again, no, I'm really into like no one cares. I put no one cares for real. Wow, I was really on one with this one. This is where the common sense comes into place and people don't have it. So I'm gonna talk slow. If no one cares about your brand, and the meaning of your brand, because they don't care about both. But the piece you have works well in their brand world. What do you do to make them care? A consumer has their own brand world. They already have brands within that world. You pick one of the worlds in their head, because there's multiple, and you use those as an add-on to your brand. Yeah, that's it. That's what you do. And I'm not just talking about brands, also opinions, what you think about things. That also is really good to communicate. If they like the Ralph Lauren Tom Ford look, but they also are going to want to go to the Bape store, you could play on that. You could play on how different the style is. Using the different brand aesthetics helps with creating a place in the consumer's head for your brand. When you show the consumer you fit into this, but you also fit into this, it's very easy, very, very easy to set up a place where they feel comfortable to buy anything from you. Simple fact, because you let them know that I understand you and I know what you want, and I'm a new space in your brand world. This is a big one that a lot of people, this also goes over a lot of people's head. No, most brands don't have an aesthetic. They don't have an aesthetic that is something that I could see somewhere. Most brands that I work with the content strategies and things like that, there's probably 3 out of every couple content strategies where a brand has an aesthetic that I could see going somewhere. Most of them don't. Most of them just post to be posting, and it's kind of sick that they are putting photo shoots, doing all these things, and I have to tell them, like, you don't even have an aesthetic. Your aesthetic is streetwear. Streetwear is not an aesthetic. But what's your subtopic? A streetwear, but what kind of streetwear is it? You know? So this is honestly a really big issue as well, kind of more than what I said in the beginning. This is a major issue. Clothing brand owners need to start finding where they are placed in the world. This aesthetic helps build your brand vibe. If you don't have a brand vibe, that's going to kill your brand in like a year. If you're just selling to sell, your whole socials just look like different versions of you twisting the shirt around and all those things, that is not going to work. So AOD is a perfect way to demonstrate what I mean by no one cares about your brand meaning, but they do care about the vibe you're giving off. AOD you can consider as streetwear, but it's more like preppy NYC rich boy streetwear. That's what AOD is. It's for like the preppy boy who maybe works in finance, but on the weekends he has AOD on. That's just like fun leisure where he's like the preppy NYC walking down the street type boy. But it is streetwear, subtopic of streetwear. So it's not so broad. They have their own style. They have their own vibe. They have things that they like, things that they don't like. You cannot put AOD and Supreme in the same place, right? Because Supreme is a whole different form of streetwear. AOD, completely different side of streetwear. They might not even call it streetwear, but to me it is, because the community that wears it. So please think of this. I hope this example is good enough, but it's simple as this. You could have a wellness brand, but what is the sub niche of the wellness brand? What items in the wellness brand are you going to focus on? You know, if you want to find where you live in your customer's brand world, you just have to find your place. As simple as, where do you sit at in this huge brand world? So if you want to find where you at in your consumer's brand world and you can't find it, that means that you don't have an aesthetic, or you don't have a place where the customer feels safe at. You can even think about this like just random people who you just don't vibe with. It's because their energy doesn't match yours, right? So imagine that with a consumer who goes online and they see something that looks like a Facebook ad, or just see something that looks incredibly crazy. Find your place. Where do you sit at in this huge brand world? I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys very soon.